because if you can get somebody without knowing that they're being shot, it's just way more honest.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I'm sitting here with Rob today at Starbucks in San Dimas. Accidentally saw him in the morning with his computer and said hello, and we've been talking for about an hour, and he wants to give you his feedback on where he thinks education is going to go in the future and what his opinion is on the Prepper Foundation. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, I think the three things I want to talk about are priorities in education. I think the number one thing is that the family has to value education. They have to encourage and challenge their kids to really seek education. And if you don't establish this when they're very young, it's going to be very hard for any kid to want to learn. And you have to whet that appetite to be hungry, to find the truth, to find information, to find knowledge, and to find answers to questions. And even to question at all. And all of that curiosity, all of that drive has to be bred into and then nurtured and nourished in the home. And I think that's one of the big challenges. And I think another thing is that I think the future of education, there's a lot of headway that can be made through the multimedia. And my favorite case to talk about is when I was in high school. In my freshman year of high school, I stayed in calculus, and I was blessed to be able to watch the calculus tutorials.
Yeah.
And they were these amazing multimedia graphical documentaries on how the math was developed, and they helped clarify and codify this information into terms that were easily understood. Any human can pick up like that because they term something that's very esoteric sounding because you use these crazy words, and then puts it in a term like, oh, that box changes size when you change this equation. This line slope changes shape when you change these variables, and you're trying to find a specific kind of information under certain circumstances, and you would use that to say, I don't know, figure out what the course of a planet's or the trajectory of a planet's orbit if you can't measure it directly, or to tell you, how much energy a planet is going to have as it accelerates through the sound wave. I mean, all these things, all these questions can be really easily and simply answered through math by using these techniques. And they're revolutionary, but they're not. But you shouldn't be intimidated. And I think it's very easy for us to be intimidated because we have it in our minds that it's tough and it's challenging. Most times it's really not. I mean, a lot of these concepts. I've talked to somebody who really believes he's not that bright, and as we talk, it's like his mind is like opens up. I mean, it's just like the light bulbs go on for him because it's easy for me to tell him because I know it already. And and I think for anybody who's learning, that light bulb moment is so helpful. And I think encouraging people to keep at it, telling them that not really challenging them, but telling them to believe in themselves that they can do it. It's like, I think it's very helpful. And but I think the most important thing is that see that these convictions. And I also wanted to talk about is in response to the culture war that's sort of in place in the Western world. And I think there are a lot of genuine, sincere people with very, very firmly held beliefs and good, solid, true beliefs. And I think there's a limit to how productive the mega corporate model of education can really be. And I think a lot of the best research and a lot of the best curriculum now is coming through the homeschool movement. And they're really pushing to have serious education where you can basically be one-on-one and one-on-five, at the most with your own kids, where you can see through the BS, they're trying to lie to you. You can keep holding the task, and you can keep them on target. and then you don't have the challenges of the socialization difficulties and the extra stress of trying to deal with a potentially noxious school environment, which most of our schools have become that. I mean, anywhere where there's gangs, anywhere where there's drugs,
Yep.
anywhere where there's any kind of cultural tension, there's a lot of provocative behavior in terms of sexuality, and all these questions can be mitigated almost completely if you keep kids in the home. You target your curriculum to what they need, be it religious, be it secular, be it scientific. If this information is targeted towards their specific needs as families, you can create an ideal place to learn and instruct without the hostility of having to face these. This competition for attention and validation that's coming in the public school. And I think moving forward into multimedia-based networking to support education, I think is a lightning rod. I mean, we're seeing it's exploding all over. I mean, MIT's doing this Khan Academy, of course, and I think University of California is doing this as well. And so Laura and I had this conversation, and the Prepare Foundation. I don't even know enough about it to say what needs to happen. But what I will say is, so far, everything I've heard sounds good. And it sounds like they're on the right track, and it sounds like there's a lot of potential here. And so,
What do you expect from?
Get involved.
What do you expect from the Prepper Foundation, Rob, in terms of the issues that you just mentioned? How do you think?
I think it's hard to say. But what I have heard, it sounds like you're intentionally trying to be flexible and meet whatever need arises. And so that's a very good idea. And I think you're trying to target whatever type of person you interact, find the key resources that they need, and find a way for them, and find an open door for them to contribute too. Because not only are you looking for ways to make a positive impact in education, but you're also looking for ways to give people the opportunity to contribute to society at large and to these specific challenges in education by having talented, bright, motivated people come into this organization and support this new movement.
Rob, tell us a little bit about your educational background.
My educational background, I went to all over the world, all over the United States. I'm born on the East Coast, and so I bounced around a lot, and then I spent a lot of time up in Bakersfield, California, and I went to a really great high school there, and I was really, really challenged. It was one of the GATE demonstrator schools, one of the 7 in the state, years back, and so we got the best of the best, and we were really, really challenged. And I don't think you can overemphasize how key that is. You have to motivate your kids. You have to kick them in the pants. You've got to tell them, look, you've got to be able to write 20, 25 pages on this report over and over. You've got to be able to write, 8 or 10 pages of handwritten paper within an hour. You've got to be able to read and write on demand. You've got to be able to process the information. You've got to understand all sides of an argument. I was challenged in a lot of ways, and I think that's something that's education is lost. I mean, we've started coddling kids, and not just kids, but coddling parents. And it's like we're so afraid to make somebody feel bad that we rob them of the opportunity to be great. I mean, it's like getting challenged is important, and we've almost forgotten how. For this entire generation, it's like we don't even know how to do it anymore, and it's sad, And so I'll get back to my education background. When I went from Bakersfield, California, I moved down to Glendora High School for my last year and a quarter, and that sucked. But not only because it was like it's a bad time to move, but by comparison, GHS was lame too. They really thought that they were one of the best schools around, but they really weren't. And so anyway, I had after that, because I had some financial family issues, school was a pretty low priority. My mom was getting very, very ill. She and passed away in 2002. So the family was pretty preoccupied with managing the fallout from her illness. But after she passed away, I was refocused on school, went back to Citrus, finished Citrus College in '03, and then I had already done a year at AP, but we run out of money, so that's why I went to Citrus College. And so I'm basically a year short of my degree. And would like to get the degree, if I get the chance to do it again, but my background is in design, web design, HTML, CSS, that kind of thing. That's what I learned at Citrus, and I've been using that to freelance since '03. And I've been a full-time freelance since '06. And I've had a lot of ups and downs, like everybody, but it's a fight. You have to be committed. You can't just give up when it's tough. Sort of thing. And nothing is ever as easy as it looks. So be prepared to work really, really hard. But it seems like there's always an open door too. Trust in God. If you believe in God, if you don't believe in God, trust in faith, whatever. Believe in God. Believe in God.
Thank you, Rob, for your time.
Thank you.
I think a lot of the things that you said will go a long way in helping kids understand and keep motivated in terms of moving forward through education, and keep in mind that life has a lot of ups and downs, and you just have to learn to deal with them as they come.